then there's a challenge, okay? So those two organs have to really be working very well, kidneys and liver and everything about the body. So when all is said and done, I love to connect the dots for ourselves and say each part of us is crucial to our well-being. So with that said, how does the body respond to exposure? There are various ways it could respond. It might, one might develop watery eyes. And, you know, we see that a lot, right? Especially in cities. Our little children, as they go to school and come back, have watery eyes and watery noses. They might be nausea, diarrhea, ringing of ears, stuffiness, and people are often diagnosed with simply sinus. And so it has become a popular diagnosis, sinus, but nobody actually pauses to say, but what is causing this sinus, okay? Then all those other things, asthma, bronchitis, arthritis, fatigue, headaches, eczema, depression, chronic flu-like symptoms, okay? And unfortunately, we as society have normalized them. And it has become very easy to normalize them because they are things available even over the counter that treat those symptoms. And my favorite question is ask why. Ask why, okay? Ask why you have those symptoms. So I just want to emphasize at the beginning that the symptoms are not the disease. It is your body's sign language to you, your body talking to you. And when you see these symptoms, yes, please keep the very real possibility of environmental toxins top of mind. Now, let's talk about free radicals. What are free radicals? Okay, these are atoms or groups of atoms that can cause damage to cells, impairing immune function, and leading to infections and various degenerative diseases. Also, free radicals are the basis of a rapid aging process and the aging process generally. So, you know, free radicals can be described as an atom, or a free radical is an atom or group of atoms that contains at least one unpaired electron. Now, if you remember, those of you who did chemistry and such subjects, an unpaired atom with an unpaired electron is very, very unstable. So it will rush around looking for stability by getting or grabbing an electron from somewhere. It's very much as I described it once. Imagine a party and there's a dance floor and people are really having fun. But this is a well-respected party where every man has a female partner. Okay, everybody has a partner. But then enters into the room somebody who is alone but wants to dance. And so will try and steal a partner of the opposite sex, opposite gender. And that can cause fights, right? It can cause instability, it can cause fights, it can cause a lot of anger. That is very much the way free radicals behave. So more on free radicals, we have what we call reactive oxygen species, which are products of our normal metabolic processes, okay? And the challenge there is how does the body deal with them? And we'll look at that later. Otherwise, it might be external exposure to X-rays or electromagnetic fields. And in the last few years, right now, I must say, each one of us is being exposed as I speak to you now, because we are in front of a gadget, okay? And we either have Wi-Fi or data, but there's a baseline EMF in the environment. And then on top of that, we have all these EMFs, we have microwaves, we have things like that. So we really need to start making wise choices and being more aware. Another question, what are free radicals? Free radicals bond very easily with other compounds, so can cause dramatic changes in the body and can cause a lot of damage as well. So what do? Each free radical may exist for only a tiny fraction of a second. However, the damage it can cause may be irreversible. So when we think about our environment, and just allow your imagination to go wild and even think about your own home. We have free radicals in pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, fumigants, all the fertilizers that are so promoted. And all these things actually seep into our soil and water systems. And obviously the detergents that we're using, I'll come to that, but food additives. If you are one of those people who loves convenience, yes, you'll buy all the packets and cans and bottles, but may I just say that it might not be a good idea, especially as you think about the little ones and as you think about yourself as well. And all the artificial colorings and ripening agents. So everything about modern day living. And then of course our cosmetics, household cleaners, and all those things. And if you still smoke, I think it's one of those habits that is quite outdated at the moment. Okay, so let us consider allergies as opposed to environmental toxicity. You know, they present very similarly. There are similar symptoms. However, the mechanism of action is different. Allergies are as a result of an overreaction of the immune system to a substance that we call an allergen, something that triggers that overreaction. On the other hand, environmental toxicity is, strictly speaking, not an immune system reaction, but it is direct poisoning of the cells so that those cells no longer function normally. So that is sort of like the difference. However, I always put a rider when I describe something like that, that it is never either or. It can be a broad spectrum. Everything in life is on a spectrum. It's not in silos. So that is something just to note. So an allergic response generally will subside when the allergen is taken away. But environmental toxicity can persist long afterwards. And obviously that depends, the extent depends on the type of toxin and the extent of the damage that has been caused or is being caused. So that is just something to note. I'll give an example, mercury, okay? Mercury is ubiquitous in our environment. It is highly toxic, it is cumulative. It is found in soil, water, and food supplies. And a lot of the grain and seed that are planted by big farmers are treated with bleaches containing mercury, methyl mercury chloride bleaches. It is also found in everyday products such as cosmetics, printer ink, fabric softeners, some medications, would you believe it? Some paints, plastics, polishes, preservatives, all those things. And it might be the most common source of exposure for many years. For many years, it was the most common form of exposure in dentistry. Right now, a lot of dentists are moving away from the use of mercury, but yes, that was something known. Now, let's talk about cancers themselves. I'll classify them in 4 broad types. Very quickly, I don't want to dwell here. Carcinomas, which affect those organs there, the skin, mucous membranes, glands, and internal organs. Then you have leukemias, which are of the blood and blood-forming tissues. And then you have sarcomas, which affect mainly muscle and connective tissue and bone. And then lymphomas affect the lymphatic system. Now, I just want that classification to be relevant as you consider what you may have heard of and seen. But right now, I want to direct my attention to what we can do and what Neolife has to offer. So the first thing to do is become super aware of the free radical sources and resolve to, as much as possible, get rid of them. So getting rid of free radical, in other words, to remove them, remove high glycemic foods that are rich in refined carbohydrates and sugars, mostly processed and therefore have a lot of additives in there. And then one that is notorious, and it is actually very sad, processed meats. Okay, all those colonis and salamis and things like that, and cold cuts. Those have to have preservatives, which combine with amino acids to form very highly carcinogenic nitrosamines because of the way they interact with the amino acids in the body. And then one thing that we all love is to eat a nice bag of chips or things like that, which unfortunately may be used in recycled oil. So reusing cooking oils and fats is a source of free radicals. And then we have to be mindful of what we do eat on a day-to-day basis. Okay, I just want to ask Christine why her hand is up, just in case.
Sorry, she's not able to unmute. We've limited that.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, let me just carry on. As long as you can see the slides and hear me, that's fine. Okay. Then reducing free radicals in your life, there's a list there. Do not smoke, please. As I say, it's an outdated practice. Please limit alcohol consumption. And then one of the things that we need to learn to do is to manage stress. Easier said than done, but welcome to the family of Neolife, where you might be shown how to manage that stress. And also change your buying habits. And perhaps that's what I was hunting for. I wanted non-toxic cleaning products. That is part of my story. So as I continue, here's a very, very good reason to use supplements. You know, a lot of people ask that question, must we supplement? Aren't we wasting our money? Oh, and you know, they carry on like that. But a good reason to use supplements. The body uses the same mechanisms to absorb calcium as it would lead. And therefore, if there is a deficiency of calcium, then environmental lead, which is all over the place from the fumes, is absorbed more. And we need to be mindful of that for the sake of the children. They're little, and if they keep absorbing that environmental lead in the face of calcium deficiency in their diet, then later on, they will be prone to developing cancers. So now I want to introduce antioxidants and perhaps explain what antioxidants are and what they do. Okay, so here's a normal cell, and it is surrounded by free radicals that are busy attacking it. So a normal cell will have what we call oxidative stress. It is stressed out by so many free radicals coming out. What an antioxidant does is it it actually supplies the wherewithal, it supplies the protection in and thereby prevents the damage, as you can see on this side. So if there are things like oxygen, which is very oxidizing, stress, toxins, drugs, all those are quenched, as it were, by antioxidants. There's somebody writing on the screen. If I can request you not to, please, because then all the other slides are affected. And so let's talk about what antioxidants are. They are a group of vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, hormones, and enzymes that help to protect the body from the formation of, or the effects more like, and formation of free radicals. So they are also free radical scavengers. They come and clean up all those free radicals. That those free radical scavengers occur naturally in the body, and they can neutralize free radicals. And we have important enzymes that do that, such as those names over there: superoxide dismutase, methionine reductase, catalase, glutathione, that you may have heard of, peroxidase. So those are produced naturally. Now, if you can again use your imagination, in order for the body to produce them, it can't just suck them out of thin air. There has to be tools on board. Okay, so I'll leave that there and carry on. Now, this is what a free radical does, as I've explained. An unpaired electron, an antioxidant will supply that electron to bring back stability. It will surrender from an antioxidant that electron that is required, and the free radical is then rendered harmless. Okay, so that's what we want. And so examples of free, rather antioxidants and examples of biochemical compounds with antioxidant properties. You have all these vitamins, and they better be real vitamins, food sourced, okay? And then you have minerals, such as selenium and zinc. And then you have the phytonutrients, carotenoids, flavonoids, cruciferous compounds. And then you have herbs, antioxidants, herbs that have antioxidant properties, like ginkgo biloba, which would be so crucial to protect the brain cells. And I think all of us would love to have a brain that still serves us in our old age, and we have that as well. And these are all natural items that we are privileged to have. And then other things that have antioxidant properties, would you believe it? Amino acids, such as cysteine. And then green tea, which contains flavonoids. It can protect, it is very protective against cancer, against Alzheimer's, and generally to maintain the health of the blood. And then a hormone such as melatonin, which is made by the body, as long as you're getting enough sleep, okay, and having everything, all the conditions right, you're managing stress and all that, melatonin will be formed. It's a hormone which is very powerful at scavenging for those free radicals. And it also has the ability to permeate any cell in the body and to protect the nucleus. That is so amazing. And it therefore allows the cell to repair. It is mainly produced at night, okay? That's when we are supposed to be having a good night's sleep. So if you've wondered why that is so crucial to good health, there you have it. Melatonin to function and to allow the cells to repair properly, and also to stimulate one of the major cellular antioxidants called glutathione. So everything ties together. There are even more antioxidants, such as alpha lipoic acid, which I think we have products that contain it, and coenzyme Q10, which we have a dedicated product, but we'll come to the products soon. So please note that biochemical processes naturally lead to the formation of free radicals. That is so important to always remember. And under normal circumstances, the body can keep them in check. However, if the circumstances are not normal, such as modern day living, where we are so exposed, so rushed, so stressed, so undernourished, okay? So generally we are all living under pretty abnormal conditions. Then not all free radicals are bad. Just remember that, please. Somebody else is writing on my screen. Oh, well. Okay. Not all free radicals are bad. They are produced by the immune system to destroy viruses and bacteria and to trigger the formation of hormones and enzymes and other enzymes that are important for life. So not all free radicals are bad. They have a job to do. If there is excessive free radical formation, however, then damage to cells will happen. And the formation of lots of free radicals stimulates the formation of even more free radicals, leading to even more damage. So once it starts, once the process of unchecked free radical production starts, then it just snowballs, literally. And that's why, I always liken it to seeing somebody and then seeing them again, let's say in 3 to 5 years' time. And the first reaction, if they have a lot of free radicals and not enough antioxidants, the first reaction is, oh my gosh, you have grown so old, And yet we have the means, and we want to share with you how to slow that down. So damage that free radicals can cause, alterations to the way in which cells code genetic material. That is staggering. Also, changes in protein structure due to errors in protein synthesis. And that is what would appear as accelerated aging. And then immune system may see these altered proteins as a foreign substance, and it will try to destroy them. And that's how we get autoimmune conditions developing. And then, of course, the formation of mutated protein can eventually damage the immune system and can lead to conditions such as leukemia and other types of cancer and several other diseases. So by the time it gets to that level, a lot of things have gone on before. The body has actually been warning and talking and saying, please help me. I need more antioxidants on board. I need to reduce the free radicals. So damage by overwhelming free radicals, it can directly damage, this is just as a summary, directly damage protective cell membrane. It can cause fluid retention in cells. And once the cells retain too much fluid, they run the risk of obviously rupturing. And I've mentioned accelerated aging. So now, all the bad news I hope is out of the way, but this is the last piece of bad news. There are more medications being used to manage chronic diseases than ever before. My humble opinion, yes, I am trained as a medical doctor. No, I am not being a traitor to the profession. I'm just cautioning that this adds to the burden of free radicals. So what should we be doing instead? We should be so aware of the causes of inflammation and oxidation. We also need to be so aware of the effects of overwhelming and chronic exposure to free radicals, and therefore oxidation and inflammation that arises. And all these are disease conditions that we see, such as memory loss and cognitive decline, okay? such as increased cardiovascular risk. Abnormal growth of healthy cells is also known as cancer. Compromised digestive function. We see a lot of digestive disorders. Loss of muscle tone. We might just brush it off as the aging process, but must it be that way? And then weight gain. I've just mentioned fluid retention. A lot of times when there is inflammation, there is also weight gain as a result of all the processes that are going on. And then joint pains and loss of mobility. Now, all these things can potentially be reversed if we understand the underlying mechanisms. Or, as many people want to do, just say, take away this symptom, treat this symptom. And so all the painkillers and all those things can also add to the free radical burdens, okay? So I want us to talk about why antioxidants are important and keep that top of mind all the time. And also ask yourself, what can I do to make a difference? Because ultimately, you need to take responsibility. We all need to be taking responsibility for our health. So in this family, called the Neolife family, and if there are any guests on board, we are a family on a mission to make the world healthier and happier. And we also like to show you ways of taking greater responsibility and teaching others to do the same. So when we come to this family, we don't do it only for ourselves. Yes, you are in business for yourself, but never by yourself, because it's important to share all this information. Okay, and so the first thing I always like to point out is that our Creator has given us everything we need. We just have to tap into it. We have to be aware that all these factors are important. I mentioned good sleep specifically, and that is vital for preventing all these ravages of free radicals, which can ultimately wind up as cancer. And then the next thing that you need to know is that your environment matters. Now, if you can start with your micro environment called your home, that's what I chose to do. And I was hunting for cleaning products that would make a difference, because I saw that, hey, if I continue to use all those toxins, then later on, I would have to start medicating my little ones. And if you've ever stopped to read side effects, I made a habit and a sport, literally, of reading side effects. That is what put me on this path of looking for non-toxic cleaning products. So this is a picture of what we have. We also have a laundry compound that does not have phthalates. It does not have tartrazine, atrazine rather. It does not have all those things that can potentially set up a response by the body of overwhelming free radical formation. And then you need to look at your diet, your food intake. Are you eating a lot and enough fruits and vegetables? To that, I often say, yes, you have to try and do that. That's very good. But do you have the time to actually eat what your body requires to quench all those free radicals, to provide the antioxidants so that the free radicals can be stopped? So introducing to you now the supplements that we have. Carotenoid complex is on this picture. And as we carry on, we have a concept called core nutrition, which gives us the foundation of nutrition. It consists of amino acids that have been put together with everything else to create balance and completion, and pro-vitality. Okay, so pro-vitality looks like that. And look at what it is famous for giving us energy. immunity, quenching inflammation, and ensuring that we recover. And that's essentially what we need in the face of free radicals. Close up, it looks like that. It contains threonine, contains omega-3 salmon oil plus, it contains carotenoid complex, and it also has vitamins and minerals. And I pointed out that all of those items are required. Pro Vitality gives you the foundation. We also have children's supplements. And now this for me is something that I'm very, very, very passionate about, because unless we start early, and as I say, I was in that situation when I saw this opportunity where I was very, very concerned, given the background of my medical education, given the exposure to what I was seeing in the clinical setting, and then having a stint in oncology. I said to myself, look, by the time an adult gets to this point, it must have started way back as children. So we need to give antioxidants, carotenoids and flavonoids for immune support of our children. And that should be a non-negotiable. And then we have nutrient synergies, and these are water-soluble antioxidants to protect the eyes, to protect the salivary glands, sinuses, lungs, kidneys, bladder, the circulatory and lymphatic systems. All those are very, very important. So I can actually hear somebody asking, but how does she expect us to afford all those things? I just want to say that they are actually way cheaper than chemotherapy. Okay, waiting to develop a condition and then going on to chemotherapy is not a very good idea. Then we have cruciferous compounds, cruciferous plus. I call it crucial cruciferous plus. Again, we are not into treating conditions or waiting for conditions to happen. This will protect cells against hormone-mediated cancers such as prostate, breast, ovarian, cervical, lung, and colon. One mustn't wait to develop the conditions first. One has to be on the products already for there to be protection. So it is, this is such a crucial product. Again, work towards building a business. And I'm sure you'll be told by the person who invited you here if you're a guest. Cruciferous plus, also, I talked about detoxification of the liver, or helping the liver to work well. It is involved in that process. So it also promotes stable stable estrogen balance. So it's a very important product indeed. It is found in this pack called Phyto Defense. This pack is available for convenience, but you can actually buy all the components as individual items. It has 3 carotenoid complex, 2 flavonoids, and 1 cruciferous. It literally gives you the protection of 6 optimal servings of fruits and vegetables. It has been scientifically proven. There's so many stories that one can hear about the amazing combination called Phyto Defense. And all that has been presented to us thanks to the Scientific Advisory Board. And now that we are discussing cancer specifically, I want to give tribute to the founder of the Scientific Advisory Board, Dr. Arthur First. He was a top toxicologist, pharmacologist, and cancer researcher. He did so much research in cancer that he actually pioneered oral chemotherapy, the types of chemotherapy that can be taken by mouth. And then he declared that, you know, cancer can be prevented by good nutrition. Now, I suppose at that time it was a revolutionary way of thinking. So he opted to come across to Neolife in the 70s and established the Scientific Advisory Board. But you need to understand for the guests that Neolife had already been going for several years. Neolife was established in 1958. So he came across, established the Scientific Advisory Board, and this is the first product that he formulated. It's called Beta Guard. It has vitamins and minerals, and it has carotenoids in there and whole food-based antioxidants. And it was found to be a great detoxifier, and it has actually been dubbed the antidote to chemotherapy. The very stuff that he had a hand in creating, he found an antidote from food. And that story to me just amazes me, and I'm just so proud that we have Neolife as a family. Now, the other thing that we have learned from the Scientific Advisory Board and our association with Neolife is the concept of cellular nutrition, okay? And we are made out of trillions and trillions of cells, and all those things that we've discussed in the presentation can lead to unhealthy cells, and yet we want our cells to be healthy. So how do we do that? We have to ensure that the cell membrane is well fed so that nutrients can go in, waste matter can go out. And if that isn't happening, that is the seed of cancer formation and other diseases as well. So we need to ensure that we have on board the very stuff that was processed out of food a long time ago. So unless one is eating bread and then following it up with treacle, you are not getting those grain oils. You are not, or even mealie meal or maize meal. If you are not following it up with treacle, you are definitely, and rice as well. So these are grain oil, whole grain oil extracts from wheat, rice, and soy. And they've been proven to improve nutrient utilization, and therefore the cells can detox. Now, cancer and a lot of other diseases have now been shown, or it is becoming more and more clear, that they are essentially failure of the mitochondria. Mitochondria are the organelles inside the cell that do a lot of work, but the key job is to produce energy. Now, mitochondria, once they begin to fail, yes, there will be health issues. So we need to learn to look after our mitochondria. Now, we are on a mission to make the world healthier and happier. It starts with you. And so the question is, why should you detox regularly? Why should you just do it only when you feel that it is, you're sick enough to now detox? Well, a regular detox has a lot of advantages. We have a dedicated detox program, but I want to point out that in the detox program is Beta Guard that we've discussed. It also has garlic. This product here is not in all markets, acidophilus. It's a probiotic. But let me talk a little bit about stage 6. It is something that is overlooked by many people. It's a mild laxative, but it is a very, very effective and efficient product in that it ensures good elimination and a well-functioning bowel. But most importantly, it also